In a soup over her pro-colonialism remarks last week, former DA leader Helen Zille is now finding faults with her own party's strategies. She's accused Mmusi Maimane of copying the ANC's philosophy of African racial nationalism. Interestingly, she goes on to say that she's deeply grateful for the DA's legacy, if she may call it colonial or due process of law. Zille caused a storm last week after she suggested on Twitter that colonialism contributed positively to modern South Africa. Facing disciplinary action, she has now chosen to train guns at her own party. Helen Zille says, and I quote, "African racial nationalism is the central tenet of the ANC, but it is now becoming the philosophy of the DA. The DA, in its quest for votes, may start to swallow every tenet, myth and shibboleth of African racial nationalist propaganda." She says if the ANC's racial agenda is blindly followed in its entirety, then the institutional of corruption will only be a matter of time. Referring to party disciplinary proceedings against her, she says, and I'm quote, "I'm deeply grateful for the DA's legacy. Dare I call it colonial of due process of law."
That somehow was incapable of transcending its own interest, its own white interest, to think about what's happening in the situation of colored people, what's happening in the black. And Helen Zille is stuck on these ideological dogmas of her upbringing, of the white establishment, and she's incapable of thinking broadly. And I think as long as she remains really in charge of the Democratic Alliance, in whatever form, whether premier, in whatever structure, she really is going to bring a regression, incompetency, ideological dogmas within the Democratic Alliance, and they will never rise into becoming this kind of party that they need to be.
In 1994, we had a pact to say we are better together. Any view that seeks to undermine that pact is a view that is inconsistent with what the DA stands for. And that is why I've taken deliberate action to say the words of Premier Helen Zille are inconsistent with our party. I have referred her to the disciplinary hearing so that we can get to the fact that it undermines that particular project. I do not support the views, I don't share the views. I am not here to proclaim what those sanctions are going to be. But we take this matter in the serious manner it is, personally. And we've now taken a stance that I want to allow our Federal Legal Commission to do its job.